What is socialization? Socialization is a process of involving oneself with others and become a part of the group whose ideals, desires, beliefs, and ambitions are acceptable and that motivates an individual who performs similar productive aspirations in the community. In other words, socialization is the activity of mixing socially with others. Theories of socialization. Some experts believe that human behavior is deeply rooted and acquired from a practical experience from others and is biologically identified. Various well known theories that supported these claims are the reinforcement theory, cognitive theory, symbolic interaction theory, and the interpersonal theory. First, we have the reinforcement theory. Reinforcement theory claims that the individual can be conditioned to act in any way if the appropriate rewards and punishment are repeatedly applied as described by Thorndike and Skinner. The second theory is the cognitive theory. This theory is concerned with the internal state of the individual, his perceptions, and his increasing abstract reasoning ability as he learns to varying ages to participate in society. The third theory is the symbolic interaction theory. This theory is the theory that is given most attention by sociologists. It claims those individuals who are capable of creating their own solutions to life's problems. It emphasizes the role of language in socialization and focuses on the individual's self-concept arising from his/her interaction with others. Thus, the symbols to which attach meaning and value are the basis of human communication. The fourth or the last theory is the interpersonal theory, an interpersonal theory of Harry Sullivan in 1953 which comprises of three components of leading ideas like the principle of complementarity where guide relationships through behavioral cause and the use of actions. Gestures and facial expressions help communicate. The second component is vector length assess and diagnose a certain personality where at the same time measure the statistical deviations with the help of some guide in determining psychopathology disorders. The third is circumflex structure which measurements belong to the variables capable of identifying relationships in a two-dimensional way, measurable in particular domains and personality investigation. According to Skiffer, as cited by Balliao and Parkon, through socialization, individuals not only learn the values, norms, and skills of their culture, but also acquire a sense of who they are and where they belong. This contention is best understood with the interactionist perspective agreeing to Calhoun, as cited by Balliao and Parkon, stated that socialization takes place in social relationships, that even young children are active participants. We develop our most basic ideas of who we are as individuals through participating in social relationships. The process of socialization. According to Linneo Jr., there are three important processes of socialization, and these are cooperation, competition, and conflict. Cooperation. It is an interaction that occurs when people work together to achieve shared goals or promote common interests. People joining together in a cooperative effort can achieve otherwise unobtainable goal. People cooperate with each other, provide mutual protection from external threats, and to meet group as well as individual needs efficiently. Competition. Competition, it occurs when individuals or groups struggle to reach the same goal. Competition exists because of scarcity of resources like money, power, prestige, honor, etc. The ultimate aim is to reach the goal not to harm or destroy its competitors. In competition, the primary concern is directed toward goal achievement. Competition is regulated by shared rules. The last one is conflict. Conflict, it is a social process whereby two or more groups consciously seek either to block one another in achieving a desired goal or to defeat or annihilate one another. It is a struggle over scarce resources that are not regulated by shared rules. These are the list of factors that affect the kind of interaction people experience in small groups. Size, proximity, communication patterns. Size. The smaller the size of the group, the higher the interaction, and the bigger the size, the lesser the interaction. With the increase in size, each member has fewer opportunities to share opinions and contribute to decision making. As the group gets larger, interactions become more impersonal, more structured, and less personally satisfying. Proximity. The closer the distance of the people, the more the interaction. And the farther the distance, the lesser the interaction. Based on the findings of Leon Festinger, people were likely to choose their next door neighbors as friends than they were to choose people who lived only 2 units away. In general, the greater the physical distance, the less likely friendship were to be formed. Communication patterns. Interaction of group members can either be facilitated or retarded by patterns of communication. First, all-channel network. In this pattern, which person can interact with every other person with approximately the same ease. Each participant has equal ability to become the focus of attention. Circle pattern. In this type of communication pattern, interaction is reduced. People can only speak to the neighbors, however, it does not give one person more power than others. Whale pattern. In this kind of pattern, not only is interaction reduced, but also a single pivotal individual gains greater power in the group. Agents of socialization. Family. Family is the basic agent to socialization since it is the first social structure with the first-hand support to an individual on how to interact with society. They principally provide social information if what society looks like and help educate an individual the what's why of the societal world. In the home where the family resides, it is composed of a father, mother, siblings, inclusive of extended members where the nuclear family is a part of. They could positively influence any individual in shaping his/her values with people in the community. As a result, Tumangday stressed that parental behavior in the home is a factor in strengthening or weakening of the child's self-image. They have diminished confidence in themselves, so they seek release from the emotionally battered lives by getting involved in an imaginary or actual martyrdom, crime, or other forms of delinquencies. In many cases, the problem of problem children originates in the home. In the Philippine Journal of Psychology under Psychological Association of the Philippines, Deganso, Alampay, and Lansford found out that the relationships between self-efficacy in managing anger, irritation, self-efficacy, parental rejection, and child delicacy are all significant in hypothetical and practical inference. Self-efficacy in managing anger and irritation is particular, has not previously been considered in the context of parenting and child development. This result supports Bandura's proposition that efficacy beliefs affect each other, such as in the case of Samar positively relating with PSA. Parents are encouraged to be authoritative, democratic in their style to foster academic achievement and to promote better parent-child relationship. Parents should treat their children equally regardless of their differences, especially on gender. Parents are encouraged to have uniform discipline towards their children. Teachers must update the parents about everything that their children do in school so that parents can make a follow-up at home. Parents are encouraged to provide a secure, peaceful, comfortable atmosphere that would make the child feel loved and supported. David Wilkerson, founder of Teen Challenge, believes that a large percentage of young people who are on drugs have taken that path as a result of having been raised in permissive homes. Interaction is not just simply dominant indicator for socialization, but the privilege or degree of positivity and acceptability of imposed discipline or parenting styles. In a book, New Dare to Discipline, Dr. James Dobson mentioned that these two aspects of relationship, which is love and discipline, are not opposites working against each other. They are two dimensions of the same quality. One demands the other. Disciplinary action is not an assault on parental love. It is a function of it. Likewise, in a book of Dr. Harold Sala entitled Train Up a Child quoted that discipline is very much a part of love. While you can discipline yourself without loving them, which is really just punishment, it is questionable that you can really love him without disciplining him.
Strengthening the family is a basic autonomous social institution. The above declaration mandates the state recognize the sacredness of family life and to strengthen the family. Our civil code lays down certain general principles which sustain the solidarity of the family not only for the guidance of the courts and administrative officials but also for their wholesome influence upon the members of every family. Right to life of the unborn from conception and of the mother. First, commencement of life. Human life is commonly believed to begin from the moment of conception when the female egg and the male sperm merge at fertilization. In short, once conceived, the unborn child is a living person with the right to be born and the right to live and must be given the consequent respect and dignity. 2. Ban on abortion. It is a permanent guarantee against any law or judicial decree permitting abortion, which is inherently evil as it involves the killing of a defenseless human being in the womb of the mother. Call it complicated, but then, science and the Bible's explanation to children as sacred human individuals in the womb of the mothers have viewed it as a blessing from God. Third, saving the life of mother. The state has still another compelling interest aside from the right to life of the unborn child, the health of the mother whose life it shall equally protect. Next, school. According to De Leon and De Leon Jr. 2011 in Article 2 Declaration of Principles and State Policies of the Philippines Constitution under Rearing of the Youth for Civic Efficiency and Development of Moral Character states that first, a duty both parents and government. The government, therefore, should equally share in the inherent right and duty of parents in the training of the children to be good, useful, and worthy citizens, by giving them support to prepare the children for future positions of responsibility and leadership. Second, the right of state to interfere with education of children. The above provision must not, however, be interpreted to mean that, as in a totalitarian state, such a law constitutes an unreasonable interference with the liberty of parents to direct the upbringing and education of children under their control. The child is not a mere creation of the state. Third, power of state to regulate all schools. The state, however, has the power reasonably to regulate all schools, their teachers and pupils, to require that all children of proper age attend school, that teachers shall be of good moral character and patriotic disposition, that certain studies plainly essential to good citizenship. Anti-bullying law. Excerpted from Section 2 Acts of Bullying of the Philippine Constitution purposely explains, bullying shall refer to any severe or repeated use by one or more students of a written, verbal, or electronic expression, or a physical act or gesture, or any combination thereof, directed at another student that has the effect of actually causing or placing the latter in reasonable fear or physical or emotional harm or damage to his property, creating hostile environment at school for other students, infringing on the rights of the other student at school, materially and substantially disrupting the education process or the orderly operation of a school, such as but not limited to the following. A. Any act that causes damage to a victim's psyche and or emotional well-being. B. Any slanderous statement or accusation that causes the victim undue emotional distress, like directing foul language or profanity at the target, name-calling, tormenting, and commenting negatively on victims' looks, clothes, and body. And C. Cyberbullying or any bullying done through the use of technology or any electronic means. Effects of bullying. There are reported investigations of bullying, and some effects of it are suicide, declined mental health, and even the use of drugs. What is worse, this resulted to low academic performance, and even if too much withdraw, victims of bullying drop their studies. In one of the social media sites that advocate stop bullying addresses symptoms and effects like depression and anxiety, increased feelings of sadness and loneliness, change in sleep. Another thing is eating patterns, loss of interest in activities they used to enjoy. That's all. Then, bullied individuals or students these are the witnesses of bullying, and there is a need to explain to them and even to parents the extent and limitations of bullying. The best time of disseminating this information is during the orientation activity designed by Office of Student Affairs or the Guidance Center. On the part of parents, a need for separate parents' orientation on bullying is helpful in order to feedback the psychological, social, and academic stress it could give to their children. Peers. Close family tie is eventually one of the primary strengths of the Filipinos with its members at home. But categorically speaking, this form of strength becomes shaky due to the following. Parental absenteeism. This occurs when one of the parents or maybe both have transitory absence for years or months that reasonably works a way to find a living or for whatever intentions. Parental attention given is significant in achieving a healthy self-understanding of every adolescent. They are the best mentors who can widely share the best lessons out of encounters and experiences they had been and can withstand any questions correctly, from magical to physical body changes up to emotional gigs or courtship matters. Some of the barcadas can be a shoulder to lean on and are there beside you in down moments as good helpers. However, barcadas can sometimes deceive the real definition, meaning and significance of every teenage situations coming in and out to an individual's life. Barcadas, a group of people from where an individual gets an emotional support, safety, and approval. They could also become influential to one's life and could even lead to juvenile delinquencies. Parental guidance to their children is valuable, especially in shaping and molding the youth to go directly to the path they deserve to experience. In parental absenteeism, adolescents could turn to their barcadas to contain the empty feelings they bitterly experience. Other reasons why adolescents engage in sexual intercourse include A. Carried away by passion. B. Search for intimacy and closeness. C. To satisfy curiosity. D. Prove normality. E. Forced by partner. F. Heavy necking and petting. G. Money and drugs. H. Alcohol intoxication. I. Early dating. G. Peer pressure. E. Fun or enjoyment. And L. Rebellion. All of these can cause an extreme behavioral maladjustment to adolescents' life called delinquency.
Problem with delinquency antisocial behavior includes vandalism, damage to property, truancy, disobedience, vagrancy, defiance to parents and to persons of authority, gambling accompanied by petty, thievery, thrill-seeking, extortion, and other sadistic acts of lasciviousness, alcoholism, and drug addiction. When the different patterns of delinquent behavior are met the parental indifferences or neglect, and if the delinquent gets away from legal punishment, he or she is likely to commit more serious crimes such as homicide, murder, arson, and kidnapping. At this stage, the delinquent has lost track of what is right and wrong. Causes of delinquency. One of today's adolescent problems is delinquency. According to Garland et al. 1998, it is presently a serious social problem. One cannot help but ask these questions on delinquents' seeming indifference to society prescribed norms. What inner motives, forces, and drives them to do acts which are not approved by society? Can society be blamed too for the delinquent transgressions and distrust towards life? The delinquent personality is the sum of predisposing and aggravating and precipitating causes. A delinquent personality has been structured around feelings of hostility and aggressiveness. Church. The religion of the early inhabitants of the Philippines, like those of other people, was animistic in form. They worshipped the natural objects this saw around them. But Hala, the ancient Tagalog supreme being who had all shape, bluebird who made all things and lived in langit or heaven. In western Visayas, Bathala was Bulalakaw, a god who lived in highest mountain peak Itamek, Antique. Western Visayas also worshipped Laon, a pinester who lived in Mount Canlaon, a high mountain in Negros Occidental. They also offered sacrifices to these deities in order to court their favor and appease their wrath. The lifeways of the people were greatly influenced by their belief in the spirit world, a culture trait which still persists. Early Filipinos also believed of their ancestors' shadow. The beneficial spirits were known as anitos and the harmful spirits were known by various names in different areas. There were anitos who protected the fishermen and the anitos home and newborn infants. They also offered food and wine on the tombs. Then again, early Filipinos also believed in life after death and in a system of punishments and reward in the hereafter. There are also in rural areas where fortune tellers and Babylons still mediate between the rural folk and the spirit world. Then the introduction of Christianity to the Philippines and the conversion of the majority of the population is one of the great achievements of Christian missionary activity. Spanish priests labored heroically to propagate the Christian faith, encourage people to live in larger settlements so that instruction could be given more easily. In spite of the zeal of the priests, the animalistic tradition of the people were too deep-seated to weed out. The suggestion that a particular saint might be especially involved with fishing, agriculture, or healing brought a ready response in the minds of animistically conditioned converts. Culture does affect the way religious belief develops among the people should be enriched and expand indigenous culture rather than to destroy it. Contemporary religious groups in the Philippines. Below are the religious groups that reflect the historical circumstances which led to the introduction of various faiths. Islam, B. Roman Catholicism, C. Buddhism, D. Aglipayan, E. Protestantism, E1 Methodist, E2 United Church of Christ, Iglesia ni Cristo, Moncandistas, others. Strong faith brought all Filipinos together and even meditated the EDSA revolution in 1986. The martial law has laid on the ground and left a bitter experience. So every Filipino held hand in unison and in order to raise the flag for freedom that later then the Filipinos have succeeded. Late President C. Aquino stated, and the church helped pave the freedom to every Filipino for the preservation of peace. Para-church organizations. Youth as the center of Christian activities. Among Protestants have Young Men's Association, YMCA, and Young Women's Christian Association, YWCA, that are active community organizations. Islams have also organized Nights of Muhammad. Today's active community youth organizations in Roman Catholicism are Gakmaing Kristo Hanong Katilingban, GKK, Youth for Christ, YFC, Single for Christ, SFC, Diocesan Youth Association, DYA, and still exist. The above organizations help their respective churches in its community activities and services. It encourages young individuals to go to church and to hear a mass of their equivalent church heads. In the way, the youth could better expand their self-understanding through their faith as renewed and refreshed through the Bible teachings and God's commandments. Pope Francis stresses that in order to be fully understand 5 things and 10 its needs, we must learn how to creep and to love. We sometimes think that whipping is just for children, but as a young adult and a follower of Christ, it is essential in order to grow mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. He added that certain realities of life we only see is through eyes cleansed by our tears. That is when we ask ourselves wholeheartedly, why do bad things happen and come to realization? Then he concluded that the response that we can make today is let us really learn how to weep as Jesus did so for his people. We have to learn to self-understand standing. We want to do something about it. Pope Francis points out the challenge that life offers, which is to learn how to love, not just to accumulate information without knowing what to do with it, but through that love-led information, her fruit. He proposed to us the 3 languages of the mind, heart, hands, and to use them in harmony.
Mass media. The mass media are the various forms of communication that reach a large audience without any personal contact between the senders and the receivers. They include newspapers, magazines, books, television, radio, movies, videos, and the internet. The term mass media was coined by Sullivan and has been used by Balyaw and Parkon. The media function as socializing agents in several ways. 1. They inform us about events. 2. They introduce us to a wide variety of people. 3. They provide an array of viewpoints on current issues. 4. They make us aware of products and services that if we buy them will supposedly help us to be accepted by others. 5. They entertain us by providing the opportunity to live curiously through other people's experiences, according to Kendall, as cited by Balyaw and Parkon. The MTRCB is a Philippine government agency responsible for the classification and review of television programs, movies, and home videos. Unlike other organizations worldwide, the board does not rate video games. The ESRB system used in the United States is the de facto rating system used in the Philippines. Below are the guidelines of MTRCB in the Philippines. Entertainment viewing. G. Viewers of all ages are admitted. PG. Viewers of all ages are admitted but parental guidance is advised. R-13. Only viewers who are 13 years old and above can be admitted. R-16. Only viewers who are 16 years old and above can be admitted. R-18. Only viewers who are 18 years old and above can be admitted. X. X-rated films are not suitable for public exhibitions. General audience. Viewers of all ages are admitted. A G classification advises parents or supervising adults that the film is suitable for all audiences. A film classified as G shall, in the judgment of the board, meet the following criteria. 1. Theme. The film should not contain violence, threat, abuse, hormone, or other themes that may cause fear or disturbance to a young child's mind. Language. The film may contain dialogue or other word representations beyond polite language but profane, offensive, and sexually suggestive language or gesture shall not be allowed. Nudity. The film may contain occasional as well as natural non-sexual nudity. Sex. The film cannot contain and depict sexual content. Violence. The depiction of any violence must be mild, brief, infrequent, and unlikely to cause undue anxiety or fear to young children. Horror. The depiction of horror and frightening scenes should be mild, brief, frequent, and unlikely to cause undue anxiety or fear to young children. Drugs. There shall be no depiction of or reference to prohibited drugs or their use. Parental guidance. Viewers of all ages are admitted, but parental guidance is advised. A PG classification advises parents or supervising adults that the film may contain any of the elements which may be suitable for younger viewers. A film classified as PG shall, in the judgment of the board, meet the following criteria. Theme. The film may contain themes that require parental supervision and guidance but should not promote any dangerous, violent, discriminatory, or otherwise offensive behavior or attitude. Language. The film may contain mild and infrequent swear words and menacing language, offensive, menacing, threatening language, and references to sex shall always be suitable for younger viewers. Infrequent, brief, and justifiable sexually suggestive language may be allowed. Nudity. The film may contain occasional as well as natural non-sexual nudity. Sex. The depiction of non-intense sexual context may be allowed, but it should be discreet, infrequent, and not prolonged. Violence. The depiction of non-gratuitous violence and suffering should be minimal and without graphic detail. Horror. The depiction of brief and infrequent horror and frightening scenes shall be allowed. Drugs. There shall be no depiction of or reference to prohibited drugs or substances under use. Restricted 13. Only viewers who are 13 years old and above can be admitted. An R-13 classification advises parents, supervising adults, or the would-be viewers themselves that the film may contain any of the elements which may not be suitable for children below 13 years of age. A film classified as R-13 must, in the judgment of the board, meet the following criteria. Theme. The film may contain mature themes, but it is suitable for teenagers above 13 years of age, and shall not gratuitously promote or encourage any dangerous, violent, discriminatory, or otherwise offensive behavior or attitude. Language. The film may contain high swear words and menacing language consistent with the context of the scene in which they are employed. The use of frequent and vulgar strong swear words or sexually derived or suggestive expletives and expressions, as well as the use of swear words and expletives, shall be allowed. The use of sexual-oriented or suggestive language and other references to sex shall always be suitable for viewers who are at least 13 years of age. Nudity. The film may contain natural and sexually oriented nudity. Sex. Strong sexual content may be depicted. Violence. Intense violence may be allowed. Horror. The Justifiable depiction of horror, frightening scenes, and occasional gore are allowed. Drugs. The strong depiction of drugs or their use may be allowed. The movie shall not in any case promote, condone, justify, and or encourage drug use. Restricted-16. Only viewers who are 16 years old and above can be admitted. An R-16 classification advises parents and supervising adults that the film may contain any of the elements which may not be suitable for children below 16 years of age. A film classified as R-16 must, in the judgment of the board, meet the following criteria. Theme. There are no restrictions on themes provided that the treatment is appropriate for viewers who are at least 16 years of age. Language. The film may use strong language. Nudity. The film may contain discreet, non-gratuitous, and justifiable, natural, and sexually oriented nudity. Sex. Strong sexual content may be depicted. Violence. Non-gratuitous and justifiable violence and gore may be allowed. Horror. The non-gratuitous and justifiable depiction of horror, frightening scenes, and gore are allowed. Drugs. Justifiable depiction of drugs or their use may be allowed. The movie shall not in any case promote, condone, and encourage drug use. Restricted-18. Only viewers who are 18 years old and above can be admitted. An R-18 classification advises viewers, parents, and supervising adults that the film may contain any of the elements which may not be suitable for children below 18 years of age. An R-18 rating that does not mean that the film is obscene, offensive, or pornographic, as these terms are defined by law. A film classified as R-18 must, in the judgment of the board, meet the following criteria. Theme. There are no restrictions on themes under treatment. Language. The film may use strong language. Nudity. The film may contain non-gratuitous and justifiable sexually oriented nudity. Sex. The realistic depiction of non-gratuitous and justifiable sexual activity may be allowed. Violence. There are no restrictions on the depiction of non-gratuitous and justifiable violence. Horror. The justifiable depiction of horror, frightening scenes, and gore are allowed. Drugs. The justifiable depiction of drugs or their use may be allowed. In no case, however, should the use of drugs be promoted, condoned, justified, and or encouraged. Not for public exhibition. X-rated films are not suitable for public exhibition. A film shall be disapproved for public viewing if, in the judgment of the board, 1. The average person applying contemporary community standards and values would find that the dominant theme of the work taken as whole appeals solely to the prurient interest and satisfies only the craving for gratuitous sex and or violence. 2. The film depicts in patently lewd, offensive, or demeaning manner excretory functions and sexual conduct such as sexual intercourse, masturbation, and exhibition of the genitals. 3. The film clearly constitutes an attack against any race, creed, or religion. 4. The film condones or encourages the use of illegal drugs and substances. 5. The film tends to undermine the faith and the confidence of the people in their government and or duly constituted authorities. 6. The film glorifies criminals or condones crimes. 7. The film is libelous or defamatory to the good name and reputation of any person, whether living or dead. 8. The film may constitute contempt of court or of a quasi-judicial tribunal, or may pertain to matters which are subjudicial in nature.